just a second ago. This is a game called Kim. And so let's go to you first, and then we'll talk about the game. So what's your name?
My name's Jeremy Hogan.
Jeremy Hogan, okay. I'm Carl Quinton for everybody. I work for Casual Connect and Indie Prize, and we're here at the Casual Connect conference hosting 130 Indie Prize games. We're going to be trying to bring as many of those games here as we can, and we're going to start with your game first. So what's the name of your company, and how long have you guys been around?
So we're called the Secret Games Company, and we were established in 2012 as the vehicle for a side project that I was making with some friends I met in my first games job. And we've grown since then to be able to work on Kim full-time. And then that was for about 2 years. And then we released Kim at the end of last year.
Oh, okay. So where are you based?
I live in London, and my lead programmer, chief collaborator on Kim, is based in Copenhagen now, although we met in London. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So we're going to be going to London next summer, actually, for a Casual Connect conference. We'll be holding it at the QE2 Center. I don't know if you're familiar with that building.
Big place.
Yeah, it's what do you call it? The Westminster Abbey? Is that across the street from there? Is that correct?
Yeah, that is right over the road now you mention it. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So I do know something about London. Not much. I know,
It's a great view. The Abbey's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, and is that where Parliament is and stuff too? Is
over the road from the Abbey is then Big Ben, Houses of Parliament. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll get my touristing done someday soon.
You'll be able to do it from the window of the convention center.
That's correct. Right, exactly. So let's get back to the game and you. So what is Kim? What is Kim about?
Well, Kim is a game inspired by a novel which was written by Rudyard Kipling, published in 1901.
Okay.
Rudyard Kipling's a Nobel Prize-winning novelist and poet from Britain, and this is considered his masterpiece.
Okay.
And it's set in colonial India and what is now Pakistan, but at the time it was all India.
Right.
And the main character, called Kim, is a young, adventurous street urchin who's just
sounds Aladdin-like.
Yeah, he's becoming a teenager, and it's a coming-of-age tale.
Okay.
And what we set out to do is let players choose how they live Kim's coming of age. The idea is that you read a book and you say, wow, that's a great story. What would I have done in that situation? And
so now we get to explore those options in the game Kim.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do not want people to only be able to play the book.
Right, the one storyline.
Yeah, games are, they give players choice. That's the great thing about them. So we wanted to avoid that trap. And we don't even steer the player down that path.
Can you play the book path?
You can. If you don't know the book, you probably won't necessarily know what to do. If you do know the book, then it'll be easier for you too, yeah. But all of the characters from the book, all of the places, the stuff, it's all in the game world.
Yeah.
And we've also filled the world with characters from other Rudyard Kipling stories set in India. So it's a kind of meta-textual homage to Kipling's work.
Right, so you filled in some details with some collaborative work kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's got loads of cool short stories. Like he did a short story called The Man Who Would Be King, which was turned into a movie with Sean Connery and Michael Caine.
Okay.
I think it was in the 80s maybe. Great movie, by the way. And so that story is, those characters and that story is hiding out there in the world if you can discover it,
Right.
Tons of other stories like it, yeah.
Okay, so why don't we get into the game? Why don't you show us the game? And
so I think this is the very start of the game. That's certainly the idea.
Okay, very story-based, reading.
Yeah, the load screens all have quotes on, as you might imagine. Yeah, this is the very beginning of the game. So these photos actually are quite fun. We reached out to the British Library, who have an enormous archive of photos from colonial India, and they let us use whatever we wanted. They sent us
excellent
loads to choose from, and these this text is from real Victorian travel books. So this is Kim here in the middle, and this is his great friend, a Tibetan lama.
Tibetan lama. Huh?
Yeah, like a holy man, a wandering holy man.
Oh,
from
not
Tibet.
not an actual llama animal.
No, one L, not two. Yeah.
Right.
And so this is his traveling companion, who he meets at the start of the book, and who sort of aids him in leaving Lahore, the town of his birth, and going out into the world and, well, and having adventures and becoming a man in the end.
Right.
So in this tutorial, you're just introduced to moving around. You're a street urchin, so you can beg. And if the lama's with you, you can beg on the lama's behalf. He's a holy man, and in India, people are very generous to holy men.
Right.
If you leave the lama and you go off by yourself for a bit,
begging
you don't get so much. You can still try, but you don't get as good results. Yeah.
Right.
So I'll skip through the text.
Yeah.
Just because time is of the essence. Here, Kim is giving a witty insult and managing to persuade the guy to give him a bit more curry. Kim's full of kind of.
He's a sassy kind of guy.
He's very sassy. That's exactly.
And that's in playing with the book's character.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you can do pretty much whatever you want with Kim, but you can't stop him being sassy.
Because that's who he is.
Yeah.
Got it.
And this is Kim's other great friend, Mababali, who's a horse trader. And Mababali in this conversation gives Kim, he asks Kim to take a message, but it's a cryptic message that Kim doesn't understand, to somebody in a neighboring town. And it's not really clear what that's all about, but of course it becomes clear later.
Okay.
So the game is, it's got survival systems. So you need to keep Kim fed and you need to keep him slept. These are these two bars here. So this is his health. See if he had low health, his food's right there. This is his happiness, which is affected by lots of different things. Being evil will reduce it, being good will increase it, but lots of other stuff will as well. Okay. And this is his fatigue.
So can he take injury from like a rabid dog and things like that?
The only animals in the world that will attack you are the occasional tiger.
Wow.
Yeah, most of the animals are okay, but...
No crazy monkeys?
Well, there are crazy humans. Do we count as monkeys? I mean,
yes.
We are apes.
We are the craziest apes.
Yeah. So you will occasionally meet an aggressive human. And actually there's so this is the map of India, right? And you can see here we've got our mission that Mababali gave us. And you can see there's a train track which runs between Lahore and Ambala. So we could walk or we could take the train. Ordinarily the train would cost us money. We've got 100 money, which is written on our suitcase. Right. The suitcase also has all of our items in and our stats up here. So it's just, the game's just begun, so it's all pretty vanilla right stuff. Now. Yeah. But in this instance, we might be able to persuade the llama
to take us
by the train. So he's a little anxious about it, but we can persuade him. That means we get down to Umbala in no time. This is quite a long conversation where the Lama's relationship to the people of India is introduced. He tells a story and
right, details and story and interesting things. Yeah. So how many hours of gameplay do you think are total in this game? So if I played the entire game taking my whatever path, wasn't familiar with the story, am I looking at 10 hours, 5 hours, 40 hours?
Well, it's a very good question. This is the results screen. Right now it's, we've just begun, so the scores are very low. But in this game, you have until Kim turns 18 to complete your run and to lock in your score. We didn't want to limit players, so we do actually let you play past that. We enter endless mode. But if you're looking to get a score, you need to do it before Kim turns 18. So
you have a limited time.
Yeah, you can see here, it's 1,000 days.
Okay, and 1,000 days in game time, a day equals an hour?
An hour is 20 seconds.
Okay.
But whenever you travel, time skips forward, right? So a lot of your time
you jump on the train, you lose a day.
Yeah, you go to sleep, you choose how long to sleep for. Like if I go to sleep now, I could choose to go to the boarding house. It's going to cost me a small amount of money, but it's better quality sleep than just sleeping in the street. I can choose how long do I need to sleep for.
I just need a 1 hour nap.
Well, I'm not that tired, but 5 hours will do me. That gets my fatigue to 0. So
it tells you what you're going to be, fatigue and everything after your nap.
You can see now that the world's got a little darker. It's night time. The grocer is actually still open, so... Oh, no, he's shut now. So it's time to be on our way. Oh, we haven't yet chatted to that guy that Mababali wanted us to chat to, though. So.
Oh, to deliver the message, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he appears to be a Secret Service chief, so that might be a clue
Brighton.
as to what this message is about. And the way he interacts with Kim is he sort of pretends not to hear him and takes the message and walks on. So he's doing something in secret.
All clandestine and stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Got it.
You can see the llama comes with us when we travel. Ah, now that's...
What was that white?
Yeah, that was a guy... That,
guard, or?
That's a thief.
Ah.
So what that thief is doing is, it's nighttime, he's sneaking around. And if he sees anyone looking at him, he is liable to think, a witness, and to attack.
Oh.
So you have to avoid him. But now if he attacks you, there are policemen as well. And if the policeman sees that, they'll protect you as well. So. But if he attacks you, that can be actually an opportunity. Because if you're strong enough to defeat him, you won't take a merit penalty because he attacked you, but you will be able to get whatever stuff he had on it.
Oh, so you don't have to thieve, you just take out thievers.
Yeah, right. I mean, that is a way to collect. Like, at the moment, Kim's only got a lockpick. I picked up a lockpick in case we wanted to do a little stealing. And some food. But he doesn't have any weapons or anything like that. That thief probably had a knife or something that we could have... I mean, if he had a knife and we didn't have one, it would be difficult to beat him in a fight. But,
right.
you know, maybe the policeman might do the hard work and then we'd sweep in and get the loot at the end.
Right, for sure.
So I've just turned on combat mode now to show that you can at any moment attack anyone, and this is stealth mode over here. And this is if you wanted to break into a building. You see you move a bit slower in stealth mode, and you can also see where everybody's looking. That's what their grey view cones are.
Oh, okay.
So these houses have people in.
That's what the little guy in the house
in
shape
the icon is, yeah. And this is a character she's got that speech trouble. She's trying to talk to us. She's asking about the llama. The llama is something of an unusual thing to see wandering around in the countryside.
Out in the countryside, right. He's a city.
Well, no, he looks like a foreigner. He's wearing, I'll show you his portrait. He's got sort of unusual clothes on. And also, this lady is interested in all the holy people. She's an old lady, and she loves to be given like blessings and things. Yeah. She's basically asking Kim, will you ask your holy man to come and have a chat with me? And
you must have really got invested in this story. I mean, to build a game around this story, you must really love it.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest.
I read a lot. I mean, I read the book 4 or 5 times. Autobiographies of Kipling, all of his short stories and stuff in India, and lots of just historical background as well. The game is set during a period of history called the Great Game, which is when the British Empire and the Russian Empire were competing over Central Asia. And the Secret Service stuff that's going on is all part of that big historical drama.
Okay.
Kim only touches on it, really, but it's the backdrop.
So kind of like building a game around Cold War America or something like that.
This really, it was a Cold War. I mean, they had very little conflict directly.
Right, so it was, it wasn't like a nuclear race armistice, but it was still a conflict without actual guns and front lines and that.
They would have battles where the Russians would support I can't remember if it was called Iran or Persia at the time, but that country in its attempts to take back cities from Afghanistan. And each of the major powers was supporting one of the minor ones, so that they didn't have
proxy wars.
Yeah, exactly, right. Just like in the Cold War. I mean, it really is, that's the perfect analogy. You can see the Lama's portrait here. He's got kind of bright Tibetan garb.
Right.
So he would have stood out.
Oh, so we're still in combat mode?
No, we've just, that's just one of our
the music
soundtrack
kind of
got quite combat-y. Yeah, we may have triggered that track when we entered combat mode, and then it would have played it till the end.
Got it.
The soundtrack was done by a really talented composer called Murugan Thirachelvam. He's his family are of Sri Lankan extraction, so he's very familiar with Asian music.
So did you do outsourcing for your music then?
He's actually someone I'd worked with before on our previous game, Rise Battle Lines.
And then what about art? Who does art on your team?
The art is done by a brilliant artist, graphic designer, animator called Sam Ballard, whose website is Sunlight After Dark, if anyone wants to check that out. And he's done a lot of online comics. He's done some games. He's also done the art for a board game. So he's a real multi-talented guy.
So what made you think of the gameplay from straight top down? I mean, that's kind of an unusual gameplay camera view.
Yeah, well, the reason we went for that is because in stealth games, if you have view cones on the ground, it's important not to have any confusion about, with a perspective camera,
Distance.
it's not always clear if your character is inside or outside of someone's view cone. That was one reason, one mechanical reason. Another reason was that we wanted something where we could procedurally generate the levels. So I can just pause while I explain. So like, if you look at this level here, this is a procedural level. All of the assets, including the road, trees, everything has been placed procedurally according to certain rules. So this is in the arid zone of our map, so that's why it has the arid background. It has, this is the Grand Trunk Road, which is the biggest road in India, and that affects all of the things that we spawn around it. So for example, it's much more likely to receive a stable and a campsite, which it both has, and it's certain to have a police's stand, which it has there. That means a policeman is in this level.
But if you were wander off to the side here, you'd get, because it's not on the main road, you'd procedurally generate different items.
Exactly, yeah. So we wanted the game to be replayable, and this is one way that it is. Now, if I take you to the nearest town, with our towns, I'll take you to Delhi, why not? We're bigger than Delhi.
Okay.
We thought that we wanted to make them historically, well, representative of what they were like in history. So all of these photos that you collect, by the way, we've added a feature in our most recent post-launch update. And this actually...
so you're updating after your launch?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
that's
definitely.
really
We've got
good.
a new one coming soon, actually. We're adding an end-of-game replay.
A lot of devs don't do live ops, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to hear when people are continuing to update their game for the player base out there.
We love playing with it. So I mean, my colleague and I are now both doing work at other studios. So this is just our natural hobby.
Okay.
But this is a collection of your photos, and you can see the text that came with them from all your playthroughs. So it gives you a kind of way to complete the game. As people often said, how do you complete the game? You know, well, this is a way you can do that. So this is historical Delhi, and you can see a few landmark sites. Like in the corner up here is the famous Red Fort of Delhi, and it, you know, has these sort of, this is based on aerial photos of it that Sam drew it.
Okay.
This is an old observatory. This is the Gymkhana Club. So we really wanted to have as much history as we could. So if you go and visit, say, this famous mosque, we can't go in because we're not dressed as a Muslim. Right now we're dressed as a... What are we dressed as? There are different outfits. We're dressed as a Buddhist chela to our lama, yeah. So maybe there's a tailor in Delhi. Let's find out. We can have a look. No, Delhi doesn't have a tailor, but if we wanted to buy ourselves the right outfit. Oh no, I tell a lie, it does. So as long as we've got enough money, we can buy the outfit that will let us go into that mosque.
Young man, I want to talk to you. I like that.
That's a character who's from one of Kipling's short stories. Here it is, and we can afford it. See, this guy here, this is really bad news. He's charging extremely high prices. It says 50 there, but in brackets it says 20. That's what the price should be. But it gets explained to us why. So this guy has like all the possible reasons for charging more money at once. He's a good example.
He's opinionated, intelligent, from
these
Delhi, and miserable.
Delhi has a 50% price hike. It's the capital city, very expensive place.
Right.
He's miserly. That's his trait, which adds 30% to the price of all cheap things. The opinion refers to his opinion of us. And his opinion of us is mainly because he's depressed. He thinks everyone's rubbish. And he's a bit miserly. And that makes him charge us more as well. And then the intelligence is actually our intelligence. It's a reflection of how good we are at haggling.
Got it.
And as you can see, Kim's intelligence is currently 19, which is below the starting of 20. And that's because Kim's a bit tired and he's a bit unhealthy. Now I can solve at least the unhealthy really easily by eating some food. It didn't make much difference. But anyway, because I'm just demoing, normally I'd be like, no way am I going to pay 50 for something that should cost 20. But I want to show you what happens when we go in that mosque, so I will.
Sure.
So we've bought the outfit, now we'll just equip it. There we go. And so temples have a special place in our game. Religion has a special place in our game because the Lama is a very spiritual character. And here we go, the Jama Masjid, very famous place. So the first time you visit a temple of a new religion, you learn about that religion, and it gives you 30 merit, so that's nice. That improves our standing in the world, makes people think better of us. But also, if you're being chased by the police, you can always nip into a temple, hide out there for a day, and when you come out, they'll have forgotten you, yeah. You have to watch out and not let them see you again, but you can normally escape town before they see you, yeah.
Okay.
So do you have any more questions about the game I can answer?
No, I think well, actually, so I think I've assumed this, but I should ask it. It's a Steam game?
The game is on Steam and GOG, goodoldgames.com, yeah.
Okay.
And it's currently priced at $15 US, which is $14.99, $10.99 British pounds, $14.99 euros.
Very good. And you said it's been out 6 months or so? Or?
It came out end of last year, so no, not that long quite yet.
Okay, so
about
just
3
a few
months. Yeah.
And it's picking up fairly well for you? Or?
Yeah, it's got really great user reviews. Yeah, it's got about 90% positive user reviews on both stores. Yeah, and we've got about, well, we'll be doing updates every couple of months for the rest of the year, I should think. Yeah, and yeah, really looking forward to continuing to support it.
So what are you doing to kind of get more people to play the game? What's your kind of marketing and PR push to get people to know about this game?
Yeah, well, partly we're attending events, as you can tell, yeah. We're doing some online advertising. We're doing the usual social media stuff, so you can follow the Secret Games Company on Twitter. You can like and follow us on Facebook.
Okay.
And we're going to keep doing events and all the typical indie stuff, really, yeah.
So have you tried like engaging with publishers and other UA and those types of things?
We've engaged a lot with Twitch streamers and YouTube streamers. Yeah, that's been our main outreach. You know, we're very happy to be self-published on this one. Yeah, our first game was published by Digital Tribe in the US. It was great working with them, especially that was a multiplayer title. So, but for this game, we felt like we'd learnt the ropes a bit with our first game, and we could do this one ourselves. Yeah.
Okay.
But we are always reaching out to streamers, so anybody wants a key, they can feel free to reach out on any social media, and we will happily hook them up with a key.
Well, I will probably be putting you in touch with one of my friends. His name is Chris Natsumi, and they're working on a group of Twitch streamers to kind of promote the indie games and on the Twitch platform and stuff. And so we're going to be a part of that with them as well. We're going to start streaming these games in between shows, not just at the shows, and so we'll see if we can arrange, you know, a longer gameplay, you know, maybe a couple-hour long gameplay. Jesse, who's my colleague here, he'll be doing this Twitch streaming between shows and stuff. So yeah, we should definitely make sure that we link up again and continue to put this great game out there for people to enjoy.
We'd love to do that. We'd be very happy to. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, just leave your information with Jesse over here.
Will do.
And we'll do that. Jesse, are we about ready for the next game, or? Okay, so we got a couple minutes still. Okay, so we got 2 or 3 minutes till the next.
I can
game.
show a couple more little things I haven't shown yet. So, this is Kim's travel notebook, where you can track all the missions you've got. Quite useful because people are always asking you to do favors, and sometimes you're like, nah, that's the other side of the map. You know, like let's see if we've got any. We haven't got any out in the corners, but you can imagine if someone asks you to go to Jaisalmer to deliver a shirt to a guy, you're probably going to say, hey, buddy, I mean, this could take a couple of years before I'm down that way. Yeah. And what I will say is if you do travel into the desert, it's a lot more. We've been in the heartland of India, and it's pretty pretty safe and stuff. But it's a different world when you can even leave India altogether and go out to Afghanistan or into these northern independent states, and it can be quite lawless there. Yeah,
a little rough.
But what you often find is people have discarded maybe quite high value items. Maybe they're stuff that was lost in battles.
So risk versus reward is worth.
Always. Right. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
If you do get in trouble with the police, but you can't remember where, you can track your
warrants?
Your outgoing warrants, yeah, and you can see how long they have to run, because crimes won't last forever, you know. Even if you murder someone after a year, which is a pretty long time actually, they'll give up. They'll say we're not going to find that guy. So
right.
Yeah, this is a merit. Merit's very important in the game. You can actually see the effects of everything up here. So at the moment, 75 merit grants us plus 0 opinion. It's not enough to give us an opinion buff, but that's an opinion buff with everyone in the world. People can tell this is a meritorious guy.
I've proven myself, and you can just see it.
Yeah, and so that translates into slightly cheaper prices. I mean, these are marginal things, but the top score on the leaderboard for merits, I think it's over 1,500. So you can see you can make that work for you. If you focus your strategy on merit, then you'll start to have very low prices. And the other factor here is your recovery time. That's actually something I should say that's quite important. The game has some options here, and one of them is permadeath. If you play with permadeath on, and you can see it's grayed out, you can't change it once you've begun a playthrough. But that will make your score eligible for the permadeath leaderboards, which are
much more difficult, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, right. In the normal game, when you die, when you take damage down to 0, you just pass out, and you're then rescued by one of the friends I mentioned at the beginning.
Right.
They come and get you. But then you have to spend a period of time convalescing. And depending on how meritorious you are, you heal quicker. So high merit people are given better care, and maybe they have a bit more strength inside themselves to heal faster. So those are the two benefits of that, and every one of these stats has benefits. Your stealth determines how quickly people spot you when you're committing a crime. Your speed is just literally your speed across the map. Your strength is when you take damage, some of it is like discounted according to how strong you are. So you get minus 10% damage resistance. That's actually your damage is slightly increased because your strength is below the base level of 20. At the moment, I have this.
We're dropping in stats here. We must.
Yeah,
be
it's because I'm very
hungry.
tired. That's why. Yeah. So I can solve this by just
Take
getting some sleep. Yeah. Problem is sleeping rough, very inefficient. I'm going to sleep for 12 hours and I'm still not going to clear my sleep debt. But sometimes that's what you have to do.
If you haven't got a camp or anything else,
you can get a tent. That's the game's full of different items you can collect, which affect the way you're going to play. So there are two types of tent. There's a cotton tent, which is good for warm weather, and there's a canvas tent, which will do you in all weather, and that will reduce the health loss from sleeping outside by half. Or you can always sleep inside, but that gets pretty expensive. You have to pay people for your rooms. So you can see the sort of strategies you have to choose between. If you're going to steal and even kill people and rob them, you're probably going to be rich and you can afford to sleep inside, buy food. You can see when you travel, you choose buy food or beg food. If you beg food, it takes you a lot longer to get where you're going because you spend half the time begging.
Right.
If you sleep outside, the journey is going to take more health and happiness from you than if you sleep inside. Actually, it's only going to affect health. Happiness is decreased by hurrying. Because Kim likes to go leisurely. If you actually go leisurely, you gain happiness. If you go at a normal speed, it's a mix. And if you hurry, you lose happiness.
So what's the maximum on the scoreboard that you can get? You know, you're saying, you know, after you turn 18, you get to a maximum score, and your total score could be 900. I mean,
this is the total score leaderboard right now for people who played without permadeath. So the best score is 893. And if we go back, you can see that this bar up here is up to 1,000. And 893 would put you about there. So that's a very good score. He's nearly topped that out. And what we've done is split it into, you know the famous Rudyard Kipling poem, If? Ends with the line, you will be a man, my son. So the 4 scores are child, boy, youth, and man. So those guys with those big scores have definitely ended up turning Kim into a man. Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. So what's the permadeath's best score?
Good question. Let's find out.
And this is all on an online.
This is all on Steam.
This is everybody compared.
This is just pulling the Steam scores.
Okay.
Straight into the game for easy viewing. Yeah.
634.
Yeah, there we go. So significantly worse, but you know you have to be pretty careful whenever you're engaging in combat.
Well, yeah, because I mean number 10 is 174. I mean that's
a
pretty serious spread.
That's me.
Yeah, but I mean, number 10.
Yeah, I should probably play another game of permadeath on. That's not very good. That's me and that's my colleague.
8 and 10?
Yeah. Our players tend to favor playing without permadeath on. Yeah. I guess they like to be able to indulge in a little violence. The game is, this is not a game that is overly kind to you. You know, this is a serious strategy game. So if you pick on someone who's got a big gun when you've only got a knife, you're probably going to die, and
he's going to kick
it's
your
a
ass.
realistic game in that way. Yeah, yeah, and because you know it's no fun if you feel like there's no consequences from your actions. Right. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think you guys are ready. Okay, so I wanted to thank you for coming and spending the time with us.
Thank you.
But for sure, give your information to Jesse. We'll link you up with Chris and some of the other networks, and we'll do some streaming after the show as well. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you. Thanks very much.
No problem. You have a great one. And